It's Never Too Late by Jethro Jessup. The waves that had pounded the hull all night died suddenly at sunrise. The only sound that greeted Palmer as he walked out on deck was the lapping of ripples and the creak of the boards beneath his feet. All around, the ocean was still, a deep blue mirror for a pale blue sky. And as the sky was unbroken by cloud or bird, so there was not another ship to be seen anywhere on the waters. Nevertheless, Palmer remained leaning on the railing and kept his vigil as the sun climbed higher and the day grew hotter. He wished vainly for a breeze, but the sails remained limp, and the sweat beaded on his sunburned skin, stinging as it trickled down to soak the ragged remains of his shirt. "Lonely, isn't it, Captain?" The voice rang out in the still air, each word filled with joyful malice. Captain Palmer did not turn to face the speaker, but he took his hands from the railing and let them fall by his side. He flexed his fingers slowly, feeling the dehydrated tendons creak. "Solitude is not the same as loneliness, Roag," he replied, hating how the words sounded in his parched throat. The voice behind him laughed softly. "Ever the philosopher, even here at the very end. I admire that, Captain, I really do." "Is this the end, then?" Palmer asked. "You know that it is," came the reply. Palmer sighed and turned around. He felt a pang of loss as he exchanged the infinite horizon for the slim figure leaning casually against the mast. Nicholas Roag grinned at his captain and raised a leather flask in a mocking toast. Putting it to his lips, he drank several lazy gulps, allowing water to escape the sides of his mouth and run down over his chin. He gave a satisfied sigh and made a show of resealing the flask before pausing and holding it out. Despite his parched throat and a thirst that burned him from skin to marrow, Palmer managed a smile of his own and shook his head. "I don't drink with your kind, Roag." Roag raised his hands in feigned offence. The flask dropped to the deck, and Palmer watched in agony as it split open, the contents spilling out and running in twisting silver streams across the dry boards. "Then you're going to die thirsty, Captain. The islanders told me that the way you die is the way you spend your eternity." Palmer shook his head. "The islanders worship a mountain and believe you can sail across the world in 12 days. Roag had moved away from the mast and was circling slowly, a predator searching for a weak spot. Palmer turned with him, but he knew he had no strength left for a fight. "You and I know that's not true. How many days have we sailed together, Roag? How many things have we seen that would send the bravest island warriors running like scared goats?" "That may be true," Roag said, "but we'll sail no more, I think." Palmer was about to reply when something caught his eye. The smallest of movements in the rigging where before all had been still. A second later he felt it. The softest touch of a breeze that stroked the dead air to life and ran cool fingers across his sweat-soaked skin. Roag felt it also, and Palmer saw his conviction weaken. "It's too late, Captain. It's too late for both of us, you know that, don't you?" But Palmer was no longer looking at him. He had turned and was staring back out to sea. "It's never too late," he whispered. Roag turned his gaze to follow his captain's. The horizon that had been an unbroken line was now blurred by a dark cloud. It grew larger by the second, quickly resolving itself into a great flock of black gulls, their numbers beyond counting. Each bird had a wingspan greater than a man's arms, and they beat a single-minded course towards the becalmed ship. Roag took a faltering step back, but there was nowhere to run. He turned to Palmer, his eyes suddenly filled with desperate fear. There was nothing Palmer could have done, even if he had been inclined to try. Instead, he smiled sadly at his old friend and repeated the last words the islander chief had said to him before he and Roag and the rest of his lost crew had set sail together for the last time. "It's never too late."